welcome to our April Lunch and Learn with A Mountain Sports NIL Collective, Paul Grindstaff. We're very happy to have you here today, and we look forward to sharing with you some information that you can use in your promotional strategy. We are going to be recording this session, so please be aware of that. Please feel free to ask any questions as we proceed, either in the chat, or there will be time at the end of the presentation for questions. And with that, I guess Desiree is also here with us. She's a fellow NMDA employee, and she will be here to answer any questions you might have about how NIL and cost share go together. So please don't hesitate to ask questions about that as well. And with that, Paul, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Alyssa, Desiree, and guests live in the room and guests that'll be watching this later on YouTube. I've got a PowerPoint deck I'll share with everyone. I'm going to share my screen now. We'll open the presentation. And let's see. That's the one that we'll share. And hope everyone can see that all right. A Mountain Sports NIL Collective, and I'll get into a little bit of a primer exactly what that does and how it might benefit each of you, and some examples of things across the country with agricultural partners and whatnot. Again, my name is Dr. Paul Grindstaff. I'm the team chiropractor at New Mexico State, at SMU also. I have a doctorate in higher education administration. I'm a business owner just like you all. But what I do here in Las Cruces is I run the NIL Collective for New Mexico State Athletics. We have around 50 player partners. Those are student athletes with whom we have contracts for use of their name, image, and likeness. And I'll get into a little bit of what that does. Who are we? Well, we exist to create unique opportunities to facilitate and support New Mexico State student athletes through their name, image, and likeness, and provide networking opportunities and business connections to ensure the success of our student athlete Aggies. Across the nation, pretty much every successful Division I athletics program has an NIL collective, and a collective is a group of individuals and businesses that pool resources in order to maximize the value of athletes and also attract athletes. The more robust the collective, the more robust the presence, the more attractive the institution is. And so with what it is we do, I mentioned we pool funds from contributors, small to large businesses, individuals. We have people from California, Washington State, to Texas, obviously New Mexico, Tennessee, Arkansas, and everywhere in between. Some of our player partners, you'll recognize Big Shiaz right in the middle, New Mexico native from Shiprock. He's done a lot of events through the course of our partnership with businesses in Northwest New Mexico. He did a radio interview at Christmas time at one of the institutions. I think it was called Sammy C's sports bar. It's one of the biggest sports bars I've ever been to, but we had one of our state senators interview him, and he was on a radio program. It's very popular. Kanan Yarrow is a young man up top. He's already graduated. He still has eligibility to be working on his master's while playing football this fall. At the bottom is our own legitimate phenom. That is Desiree Spearman. She's 18 years old. She's a true freshman. In her first ever softball game, she faced Nebraska and beat them with a one-hitter, and I believe had 2 home runs in the same game. And so pretty much if you can name or think of a New Mexico State athlete, chances are they're partners with A Mountain Sports NIL Collective. And when we do that, not only is it just about student athletes going to events or endorsing projects and products and things like that, we also have charitable initiatives and charitable partners as well. One of them is Champions for Literacy. This was just last week where some of our basketball players went to Mesilla Park Elementary for their literacy event. And what we've discovered is, well, I wouldn't even say we've discovered because it's a statistic. 80% of young people when they have someone they look up to who read, will become a better reader themselves or aspire to become a better reader. And so through the use of our partnerships with our player partners and our name, image, and likeness collective, we're able to increase awareness to that effect. And that's kind of the same thing we would do with a small business, large business, or our New Mexico NMDA partners. And so a little bit exactly what is a collective? Well, we have individuals or businesses, and when we pool them together, we are able to scale our benefits. Whenever we enter into a contract with a player partner, we'll talk about expectations, following the student code of conduct, being a good citizen and things like that. But the other thing we ask is what they want to be when they grow up, besides an athlete. And we work hard to pair them with mentors that are in their industries. We've had student athletes that want to be truckers. We've had student athletes that want to be a movie stuntman. We've had student athletes that want to be in Border Patrol. We've had student athletes who want to be all manner of things. And we've been able to partner them with mentors for each of those, including the movie stunt double. Now, who are some of our business partners here in Las Cruces? Well, Massage Envy, Doña Ana Pain and Injury, Hooters of New Mexico, including the ones in Albuquerque partnered with us, Vado Speedway, Drip Drive IV, PTS Office Systems, Allen Theaters, Mesilla Valley Transportation, Dirty Dough, which is a cookie brand that's coming soon. So a lot of these are recognizable partners, as you'll see. And not only are these people investing in the success of New Mexico State athletics, they're investing in the future of our student athletes. And so when a student athlete is endorsing or making use of the products or the services of any of these businesses or anyone else, they're actively participating not only as a New Mexico State Aggie, an athlete, they're also playing their role of being participatory citizens of the community of Las Cruces. And that's what's really important. So across the state, or really you can say across the country, but particularly locally, let's say there's a football or a basketball game or a softball game going on. Let's say the Aggies win. Well, when the Aggies win, there's going to be people going to Hooters to celebrate after a game. Have you ever try to go to Hooters on a Saturday night after a game? It's packed. They might want to go to the movies the next day. They might want to go get a sweet treat. They might go visit the game right afterwards. Anytime that there is an era of success where the community embraces that success, it's been shown that the gross receipts increase, tax revenues increase, participation in the economy by the citizens increase. And that's why it makes sense to have business partners along with student athlete partners. And I want to go a little bit further and show you some of the things that are going across the landscape. Like I mentioned earlier, most every Division I athletic program has an NIL collective and different partnerships. And when we first started talking about this Lunch and Learn and how we can benefit NMDA, I started to think about different ones that make sense. One of the most popular ones, in fact, this won an award in 2023, is at Iowa State. The Iowa Pork Producer Associations came out with a campaign called Purchase More Ham and Bacon. Those were actually the last names of those guys on there. But you can see how it increased the awareness and recognition for the Iowa pork producers. Over in Arkansas, there's a popular barbecue spot called Wright's Barbecue, and their offensive line, which is the big guys up front, are called I think it's called the Big Pig Foundation or something to that effect. Wright's Barbecue is the official corporate sponsor of their offensive line. In Kansas State, of course, Kansas being a huge grain producer, they have a partnership where they can give a gift of grain, which directly supports the Wildcats through a gift of grain. What they do with that is that's a charitable initiative. When folks make that investment to provide a gift, a portion of that goes to their collective. So the possibilities are really endless. And one partner I left off as a new one that will be on here soon, and that's an Aggie alum in Grants named Matt Sanchez. He has a cattle company, and his company is going to be one of the sponsors of our offensive line this year. Coincidentally, he created a custom cattle brand that says NM State on it, and we'll be featuring that. And those again, yet another example of someone perhaps in the agricultural industry that can partner and benefit just like these programs did. Another thing I wanted to show you, if I share my screen, let's exit the, we'll go to the website. Here's the Aggie NIL website. And there we have Kane Yarrow up front. This AggieNIL.com is a good resource to visit. These are program benefits, a lot of what I've already told you, but it also features our player partners, and you can see more about them and see our mission. And athletes are highlighted on there, and so are the business partners. So if we look at the business page, and I'll get to that a little bit, these are our patrons, and so we feature that. We regularly have a newsletter that goes out to all the contributors, and folks will see those as well. And that's another way that we can distribute and increase awareness with people based on our partnership. Now, going back to our PowerPoint, we saw that page earlier, and people invest significantly. Our typical partnership for a business partner ranges from $5,000 a year to $30,000 a year, and we have folks do that at their comfort level. When we first started to have this conversation about our Lunch and Learn Today, we were wondering what could we do to add value to make it a sensible, a la carte kind of investment that would make sense to our participants in our Lunch and Learn, either live today or later on. So keep in mind the substantial investments we typically have. As part of this Lunch and Learn, we create a special program, a la carte, one time, non-recurring, $208, $516. And what this gets, let's look at the 208 level. That's recognition as a business partner on our A Mountain socials. That's on Twitter or X, Instagram, Facebook, social media endorsement, shout outs by player partners. A number of our players are verified. They have followings in the thousands. Acknowledgement in our A Mountain newsletter, like I mentioned, and the business member window decal. Next level above has the above benefits, has the 208 benefits, plus a recognition as a stakeholder on the A Mountain socials. What a stakeholder is, that is our most common level. And we have a stakeholders event every year, attended by student athletes and sponsors and things like that. The other thing the 516 level gets you is an in-person visit, promo, or video by player partners and recognition on the website of that in-person visit. Another school had I think it was an ice cream shop, and they had a student athlete, and I think they actually had a coach show up, and they were serving the ice cream for an hour. They worked behind the counter, which is pretty cool. You'd also get a monthly promotion for 1 quarter. In other words, your benefits would extend for 3 months on A Mountain socials. What we do with that is from time to time, we recognize our partners and tag them and ask our player partners to retweet those. And also you would be a named host sponsor at our fall golf tournament with signage. And typically that's another benefit investment just in and of itself. That's usually at least about $150, and that would be included in this package. So these are some things that NMDA will be able to help with. And Alyssa is going to comment a little bit more on that. Alyssa.
So Des is here because she is truly our cost share reimbursement specialist, but I just want to make sure that to those who are watching live and those who may be watching on YouTube later on, you're aware that NMDA is hoping to include planning to include this in our cost share reimbursements. So if this is a program that you are interested in, it may be eligible for cost share reimbursements from us to be able to better utilize your money, be able to do some types of innovative promotions. Des, is there anything kind of specific you want to add about that? We do have an entire cost share reimbursement Lunch and Learn, and this would be considered an advertising opportunity under there.
Yeah, so again, just want to cover the basic the thresholds of the 50% of costs up to $5,000. So you always want to keep those in mind when you're exploring your advertising opportunities. If you're willing to cover those costs and then get reimbursed later on, and then potentially it only being the 50% of your expenses. But I think other than that, I think we're good to go on that. I guess just the other thing is that, you know, we incorporate the logo, of course. We want to see that incorporated in any kind of advertising that's done. Again, because the cost share is a benefit of only logo program members.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Desiree. So
You're
we're really,
welcome.
we're really excited to see your ideas and to support you with exploring this opportunity. We've started the pilot with a mountain, but if God forbid you are a Lobo, Paul does have connections with the Lobo NIL Collective, and I believe also with some of the other collectives throughout the state. So this opportunity isn't just limited to a mountain sports, the cost share reimbursement, but this specific program and these a la carte options are specific to a mountain sports. But if you're interested in going with another potential NIL collective, we're happy to help work that out for you. And as always, if you have any questions before you proceed, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our contact information, the best way to get a hold of us is to email tastethetradition@nmda.nmsu.edu. But you can also find all of our contact information on elevatenmag.com. Okay, Paul, back to you.
That was a great primer on the cost share partnership. And again, we've cobbled this together just for this partnership with NMDA. And so it's been a great conversation that we've had that started, I think, a few months ago. And you know, that's the long and short of NIL and the partnership and things like that we had to present. But I do want everyone to know that if you do need more information, whether it's about NIL, whether it's about a specific program we can put together, how you can access that, you can email me at paul@aggienil.com. My phone number is 214-938-1252. You can also email our team at info@aggienil.com. And one thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes people will say, well, how do I work with so-and-so, a specific athlete? When you're a partner with the collective, you get access to every single student athlete player partner that we have. And that's probably one of the bigger benefits of the collective is you have that access of scale. And that's what really helps out. And so with that, of course, I'll stand for questions. And again, if you're watching this later on, then feel free to shoot me a question in either of those areas and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Thank you.